Imagine you're drowning, and there's two people on the shore, and you're wondering which one should rescue you. One of them is someone who has this certificate from some swimming institute, and the other is someone who rescued somebody like 2 days ago. Who do you think has a better shot at saving you? Now, let's zoom out to India in 2025. We're on track to graduate 1.5 million engineers. Barely a tenth of them will receive a real job that maps to what they've learned. Most of them are going to end up compromising and picking some other career trajectory. Many of them will just end up going right back to school. And while this is something we all know about, the flip side is that many employers who are trying to find someone to lead some audacious challenge for them, to solve some major problem for them, also run short on being able to hire people. So this scarcity of talent and scarcity of opportunity is like a two-sided problem. And it's honestly a paradox, right? Because people are just taught to believe that there's too much competition for every job, but it's quite the opposite. For many challenges, there's just simply too few people who can do something about it. Why is that? If you've ever dabbled in the field of machine learning, you'll be familiar with the concept of overfitting. It's when a model memorizes this training data, but it fails to actually grok the core idea, and it fails in the real world. Does that sound familiar? My teachers at school used to sit with us all and reverse engineer exams, drilling students on predictable question patterns until they committed the patterns themselves to the memory more than the core ideas. And when these questions ever violated the pattern in these exams, they were just considered to be out of syllabus, and you get your marks right back. This happens every year in real life. Fresh graduates enter the workforce and fail to do even the most simple tasks without months of further training. And this is something that the market here understands and calibrates accordingly. Interns are not paid well. In some cases, you have to pay to intern. And beyond the pay, interns just don't get tasked with important things, right? They're always treated as like grunt work labor who get irrelevant irrelevant tasks that other people on the team couldn't be bothered to do. And naturally, this is not a great environment for their personal growth, right? Last year, we asked a simple question. What if hiring began with a simple problem instead of a synthetic test? This question became an exploration that resulted in Quest. One thing that we have in great abundance in our society are problems. Some problems are commercial, right? An individual or a company can solve these things and make great money. And these are the types of problems that end up getting solved. But then there's other problems that are not commercial, and so they remain unsolved, even if there are simple problems that anyone with the most basic skills can solve them, right? This is what is in economics would be known as a tragedy of the commons, and these problems are known as public goods. There's three things here. We have young people in abundance willing to work very hard and prove their worth. We have great opportunity for those who are known to be talented to contribute to the workforce, to build things, to contribute in their own way. And then we have this myriad of problems that are, the weight of them is felt upon our shoulders all the time, right? These are civic problems, these are industrial problems, they're just like missing things that would make all of our lives better. And when we realized these three things had one solution, our work was cut out for us. These unsolved public good problems could be something that young people could just work on. We decided to publish public domain challenges or quests and broadcast them for young people in schools and colleges. Each was adequately sized so that a college student, a smart high schooler, or even a dropout could solve in 2 to 4 weeks with the resources they have, while also continuing to do what they're doing most of their time. And we thought that many would find it a curiosity, but some would answer the call and go all the way. And some of these people would be talented enough to serve very well in the workforce. And if people succeeded, we'd find them an opportunity somewhere in our network or in the networks of the people who have discovered the idea of Quest. Let's take a look at some quests. We are a country of many languages and of many levels of literacy, yet our bureaucracy communicates in the least intelligible manner possible using a variant of English that is very bygone and reminiscent of the colonial era. how can the government expect its own citizens to understand what it's trying to say? Right? Thankfully, modern language models can easily translate both between languages and simplify the language used. And so we thought this would be a pretty good challenge that if somebody took a shot at this and built something that would scrape government announcements across different websites and show them somewhere where you can consume them in any form you like, in any language, and simplified or complex or whatever, it would make for a pretty compelling public good. Turns out, after we posted this online, within a week, somebody actually solved this. If you go to announce.org.in, it is exactly this vision. You can browse through government announcements made by all our different government agencies and read them in any language of your choosing or just in simplified English. This is one of our first submissions, and we were just blown away by the quality. We reached out to the person who made this, and we were very excited to just get them a job. But it turns out they were not even looking for a job. They were just doing it for fun. And this was just honestly quite remarkable to us. Let's look at some more requests. A tool to figure out who's responsible for a civic problem. Now, when things go wrong on the streets outside or something in our environment doesn't work the way it should, we often wonder who's responsible for it. People have, a variety of default places to look at, like writing a letter to the prime minister or blaming, the BBMP, depending on where you live. But it turns out that if you know exactly which agency and what person in that agency is responsible for the problem, you can direct your queries more precisely. And this is, again, a challenge of scraping data, laying it out, and understanding your intent. And if you can do this, we think you could work for any great startup in Bangalore or Silicon Valley, and we'd be happy to make that introduction. Right? Here's another one. This is a digital organizer for medical reports. This one's very personal to me. If you or someone you know are a patient with chronic conditions, you end up with a stack of paperwork that you should honestly just measure in kilograms. Right? It is full of prescriptions, test reports, invoices, and things that either your doctor, or the insurance company needs. And searching this corpus is honestly a Herculean task that patients in India and honestly in many other places go through. And we think this is usually viewed as like a hospital level or like medical system level problem, but I think this is like a personal organizational problem. And what we wanted was someone to build like an app or something that goes through your medical records, categorizes and labels them, and makes them easier to find. In summary, we've gone through these quests, and what we found is the quest idea seems to work. We have 100 folks who signed up to do quests. About a dozen or so folks submitted the quests, and we're very happy to announce that we were able to place 2 of them into jobs just last week, and there's many more in the pipeline. So we're very happy that the system works, and we think this can scale. Right? Now imagine what this unlocks. We think that it's possible to frame quests in every field, and the quests would be authored by domain experts and public intellectuals, and at some level, it isn't even about jobs. We think a quest is something that you do to improve your own abilities and, of course, to contribute to the commons. We're very happy with the people we were able to place, and we're excited to follow their trajectories and observe their personal growth. In our world, your working prototype is the interview. It sends a signal that slices cleanly through the noise, and suddenly a student from a tier 3 college can compete heads-on with someone from a premier institute. And whether or not a particular project leads to a job, it contributes to the commons, leaving the country and the world a better off. Picture the future this unlocks. Civic pain points, industrial bottlenecks, climate challenges, all surfaces open quests that invite young Indians to learn by doing. Those who do excellent work get fast-tracked into the best opportunities in their field. They benefit, the companies benefit, and so does the world. Our best startups get a live merit-based talent pipeline with no gatekeepers. The demographic dividend stops being some mere slogan and becomes visible progress, one solved quest at a time. Every quest completed is a tiny rebellion against the idea that your worth is merely your exam rank. It is living proof that talent saturates India, waiting not for another test, but for an opportunity to do something, to solve a real problem, and the trust to tackle it. Thank you so much.